With an estimated inland waterways of 11,000 kilometers, records indicate that 26 out of the 36 states of the Federation can be linked by water. The bone of contention here revolves around why it is practically impossible for someone living in Lagos, for instance, to connect Ondo or Delta State, since the water highways need no construction work. If this impossibility can be turned around into opportunities, the challenges of traversing the nooks and crannies of the country will not only be addressed, but infrastructure like roads and the rail lines will be preserved for a longer period. In fact, some experts are of the view that it is 10 times cheaper to develop the water transport sector than any other means of mobility. Today on Panorama from the Lagos Network Center, we will be looking at harnessing water transportation for economic growth. I am Dotun Ogmiemi. We'll be right back. With Africa widely acknowledged as the global future, given its vast potentials for economic prosperity, the United Kingdom says it is better positioned to play a huge and active role in that future. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson gave this assurance at the opening of the first ever UK-Africa Investment Summit in London. President Muhammadu Buhari led Nigeria's delegation to the summit, also attended by dozens of African and British leaders. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
As a major milestone in international relations, the UK-Africa Investment Summit provides an opportunity for exchange of ideas, equipment and finance towards forging partnerships that can massively create jobs, enrich lives and build relationships of mutual prosperity. Addressing participants comprising heads of state and government, business leaders, investors and entrepreneurs, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson made a case for the UK as the investment partner of choice for African countries. The United Kingdom, he said, has unique expertise and innovation in technology, clean growth, infrastructure and finance capable of feeding the continent's demand for sustainable growth.
Africa is the future, and the UK has a huge and active role to play in that future. We want to be with you side by side every step of the way. So let's seize the opportunities that are before us here today. Let's build the partnership for the future. And together, let us write the next chapter for my country, for your country, and above all, for all the peoples of our countries.
Prime Minister Johnson, however, used the forum to announce an end to UK support for thermal coal mining or coal power plants overseas, but a wider commitment towards helping Africa's transition away from fossil fuels towards renewable and sustainable forms of clean energy.
Lolade and her team make the local streets cleaner and the global environment greener. They've created 3,000 jobs in Nigeria, the vast majority of them for women. They help keep the order books full for British manufacturers, and the whole operation provides a tidy return for investors both in Nigeria and in the UK. And it's a great example of what the modern UK-Africa partnership looks like.
During the summit, £6.5 billion worth of commercial deals have been announced between British and African firms, while setting aside nearly £1 billion in aid for Africa's growth and development in critical economic sectors.
The UK has what Africa needs, and Africa certainly has what UK needs. We need the partnership to make it possible for the AfCFTA to work effectively. Nigeria can, in fact, be the gateway for the UK in the new relationship that is emerging.
Nigeria is a huge marketplace, and the scramble for Africa, as it were, has to start with Nigeria if it is logical. So I think it's important that we are here as a country, as a people, as a sub-national government to see what the outcomes and takeaways could be, how many deals can we close, market our country, as well as the opportunities for our country in other countries.
The summit with the theme Great for Partnership provides an enduring platform for the revitalization of the highly beneficial linkages between the United Kingdom and African nations towards generating greater development outcomes. From London, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Now back home in Nigeria, despite expectations that the Lagos-Ibadan Railway project will be completed by April this year, Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi says this might not be visible. The minister stated this during his routine monthly inspection of the project. Despite the work done so far at the train stations, as well as laying of tracks along a significant portion of the 157-kilometer standard gauge rail line, construction of bridges and tunnels, the desire to see this 1.5 billion naira project completed by April might not be possible.
They believe that by April they will be ready. I don't know if that will be true or not. Let's wait and see.
This, the minister attributes to a few delays in getting some of the equipment to work.
The fact that administratively they are not able to berth the equipment that they need to complete this. The glasses, the doors, the windows, everything that they've imported are still not even in the seaport, but waiting to berth. And they're not able to berth because it's not yet their turn. So we're going to have a meeting with MPA to resolve all that.
I've seen, the level of commitment that the Honourable Minister and his team have put onto this, and I also am able to visualize that in a few months this is going to change the economy of Oyo State in particular. It's going to change it significantly.
Clearly unsatisfied with this reality, tasking the contractors and ironing grey areas are a priority for the federal government. Now from the rail, let's move to other modes of transportation. At a time when Nigerians are yearning for a permanent solution to the persistent Apapa gridlock, harnessing water transportation for movement of containers as well as increased passenger service comes as an alternatively reliable solution. For this to happen, however, key players have called for deliberate actions to develop water transportation for greater economic benefits. Despite being available to 26 out of the 36 states in Nigeria, water transportation still contributes a meager 0.5% to the nation's gross domestic product annually. Challenged to change this narrative, especially in Lagos, where there are contentions for fast and convenient means of transportation, Waterways comes as a ready-made solution to resolving traffic congestion in Lagos.
In other countries, we know that water transportation constitutes more than 30-40% of the transport sector. And as you can always see, my MD has always been on this, that the gridlock you're having in Apapa is because our water transportation has not been developed. At the long run, the reason why we are doing this is that we'll be able to move containers from Apapa down to Warri to Onitsha instead of even going by the road.
Issues contending with achieving this include wrecks along water channels, water hyacinths, illegal dredging activities, shanties located around jetties, among others, which the National Inland Waterways Authority has committed resources to clearing.
This work has started effectively since 16th of December, and we're here ensuring that it's going on smoothly. There are a lot of efforts being done. As a matter of fact, the wreck removal has effectively commenced in all Lagos channels, starting from Oyibo. Presently, there are contractors who have mobilized to site at Oyibo to ensure that the water channels are wreck-free and all those obstacles and derelicts are removed from our waterways to ensure that accidents are reduced.
You can see the terrain of this place everywhere. We've been trying to battle. That is the land shore. There's no way the boat can access the land shore until we clear all this debris. That is why it's expedient for us to finish this job on time. So this the boat can get to the land shore.
The federal government and state government must work together. There is no way, if they don't, that's a problem. For instance, the waterways, yes, NIWA is in charge, state government, the water is in the state. Imagine if there is a navigable signs on the way showing you where you are and what is on that area. So it will be very easy for you to navigate into Cotonou.
The agency has also stepped up its game to create more awareness among stakeholders on the need to maintain safety and other regulations. Joining me live in the studio to talk more on this is Surveyor Bernard Ekahu. He's the head of survey at the National Inland Waterways Authority, Lagos. Welcome to Panorama.
Thank you very much.
Now, how or what are the plans of your agency in 2020 to improve on water transportation?
Yeah, National Inland Waterways Authority, some agencies are with the responsibility to manage and control, regulate all activities on the waterways. We have a series of plans for the 2020 as it concerns National Inland Waterways transportation. We intend to build on the successes recorded in 2019 and as well as improve on areas that we may not have done very well in 2019. The managing director of the authority, Dr. George Mogalu, is very passionate about safety. He's very passionate about safety on the waterways. In the 2020, we intend to engage more of the stakeholders, the public, on areas that borders on safety on our waterways. We as well want to ensure that our waterways are kept safe for navigation by way of desilting and clearing of all obstacles that may impede navigation on the waterways. Currently, contracts have been awarded for the survey of wrecks and derelict on our waterways, as well as the clearing of water hyacinth on the waterways, to ensure that areas of bottlenecks on the waterways are kept safe and navigable all the year round. We will equally go a step further to ensure that the waterways are properly buoyed and navigational aids are kept along the channels, designated channels, so that it will provide an avenue for water users to know the designated route on how to ply on the waterways.
And what is the present position of the agency in respect to interstate mobility using the waterways?
Yes, efforts are equally being explored in order to ensure that the different states are linked by waterways. As a prelude to that, the survey of all of these routes will be conducted. Once surveys are conducted, the channels will be dredged. Areas where needed to be dredged will be dredged and properly buoyed. Then landing platforms will equally be provided at strategic locations to aid in disembarking of passengers along the route. This will be preceded by this survey, as I've earlier said. Then we intend also to provide river crafts and then deploy at designated locations in each of these states to ensure that once the landing platforms and facilities are provided, this will complement the efforts of the land transportation, so that the waterways will equally be made viable as an alternative means of transportation.
And what are you doing differently? What is the agency going to be doing differently to guarantee safety of commuters? We know that in 2019 there were some mishaps, but what are you going to be doing differently to guarantee safety of passengers?
Thank you very much. If you would trace your mind back, you will discover that the rate of both mishaps that we had in 2018 was more compared to that of 2019. Certain measures were being put in place by the authority, like public awareness. We engaged the boat operators and the passenger unions more on sensitization as it affects safety. They were made to understand and know things to be put in place to ensure safety while on board the boat. We engaged them periodically on safety campaigns. We equally ensure that rickety boats are not allowed to ply our waterways. Then the issue of night sailing is equally very key, because most of these boat mishaps were recorded, especially at night. We de-emphasized the use of the issue of night sailing. No boat operators was allowed to sail at night. Then the issue of alcohol, drunk driving. No boat operator was equally allowed to drink, or no alcohol was brought around the areas where we have our platforms, that jetties and platforms. We de-emphasize
issue of boat operators that are, used to issue of taking alcohol before they go on board the vessel to ply the boat. Equally, we ensure that all our passengers put on their life jackets, because in most cases where the menace of this boat may have, we record some of these fatalities as a result of the non-usage of life jackets. We ensure that no jetty, no beach masters allow any boat to cast off without ensuring that all the passengers on board are equipped with life jackets. These were measures that we were able to put in place to ensure that the rate of boat mishaps were drastically reduced to the barest minimum.
Now, no doubt there are massive opportunities in water transportation. How massive are these opportunities, and are you looking at getting some, form of foreign direct investment partnership with other agencies, or even foreigners, or even Nigerian nationals?
Yes, comparatively, if you want to look at the cost benefits and cost implications when it has to do with the trimodal types of transportation, that is the rail, the water, and the land. The one that is cost effective, cost beneficial, and cheaper is the water transportations. What it will cost the government on a yearly basis to keep the road, to do palliatives on the road by way of maintenance, will not be recorded in water transportation on a yearly basis. Once the landing platforms are provided, you can operate those landing platforms for as much as 40 to 50 years before you can think of doing any remediation work on it. Then the movement of cargoes on the waterways, the volume of cargoes that can be moved on the waterways, if you want to, assess the cost implication of movement of those cargoes on the waterways compared to that of the land, is far, far cheaper on the waterways compared to that of the land. These are things that if the government, the effort government is putting in place in collaboration with the private operators, because as an agency, we are evolving measures, how to collaborate with the public investors in what we call the PPP arrangement, the public-private partnership, to see how we can, deploy resources to establish facilities, landing facilities all over on our waterways to ensure that the transportation on the waterways is highly maximized.
Now, what form of infrastructure will be needed for all of this to come alive, for people to begin to now, see the benefits, and let's have increased passenger service as well as cargo service, just like you mentioned. I know that the agency is trying to construct jetties, but what other mode of or form of infrastructure would be needed?
Yes, we like now. If you see the what is happening in the Apapa as far as the port is concerned, the gridlock we are experiencing these days, a lot of investors have, catching on the alternative means of transportation, which is the waterways, by establishing container terminals on the inland, on the hinterlands, to ensure that containers are being moved from the ports to the inland ports and then into the other part of the country. If we are able to establish jetties and rounds all over our waterways, as well as procure tugboats and barges to move these containers from the port, it will go a long way to ensure that the gridlock we are experiencing will be reduced to the barest minimum. So the facilities that we need, as it were, will include tugboats, barges, then the landing platform, which are the jetties, and then the crane too, which will help in offloading these containers from the barges. These facilities, if are put in place, it will ensure that the use of waterways for movement of most of these bulk cargoes will be guaranteed.
Thank you so much, Surveyor Bernard Ekawo, for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
And from there, we'll take a short break. Panorama continues shortly.
Slavery is an evil practice abolished all over the world over 200 years ago. But today, human traffickers are selling human beings as slaves in Africa. It is your responsibility to make sure that you and the people you know do not fall into slavery. Don't believe fake promises of jobs abroad.
People went to say Libya, Italy no use you when they carry me on top water. 4 days now they lock me for inside house, no food, no water. I nearly die. Now God, when me heaven and earth, now save me. If you get 1 naira for Nigeria, you get junior one, you say you no get papa, you no get mama, now make you come out. I beg go they do farm work. You better pass person when enter road.
Don't accept to travel to Europe through the Sahara Desert. You may be walking into slavery. Don't be a slave.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by
Now, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has just released the 2020 rainfall prediction for Nigeria, and Onagie Fineface is at the Nigerian Air Force Conference Center to give us an update. Hello, Onagie. What is the latest from the prediction and presentation by NIMET?
The presentation of the seasonal rainfall prediction is yet to take place, but the event is ongoing now. All the dignitaries, ministers of police affairs, ministers of environment, interior, and of course aviation, they are all on ground. In fact, we had testimonials recently from some farmers who say the prediction made in 2019 was very helpful to them. I have with me someone from NIMET, Dr. Mansour Matazu of the research department, that will give us more insight as to how this prediction today will impact Nigerians and the sectors that will benefit from the prediction.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Nigerians. Today is a very important day for us because we release one of our very important products to the nation. That is the 2020 seasonal rainfall prediction. We do this annually, and the content of the prediction is it gives advanced information on the rainfall pattern across the country, across all the 774 local government areas, and how that climatic phenomena will now impact socio-economic activities in agricultural sector, in water resources, health, roads and constructions. So currently the program is being conducted by the Honorable Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, and the product will be soon unveiled. But prior to this, we had some testimonials across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country by farmers and then other users of our products, and they indicated very positive response to the impact of our prediction to their activities, and this has gingered us and to do more. So,
Doc, NIMET releases this prediction every year. We still have people that complain about flood coming to ravage our communities. Does it mean people are not taking advantage of the information, and how better can Nigerians make do with this prediction?
Yeah, thank you very much. Forecasting and predictions, there is a value chain. So at our own level, we do it as early as possible because it's a perishable product, and we release it to the relevant authorities, and then it goes down to the public. So what we always advise is for government agencies, organizations, all the MDS, including the citizens of the country, to adhere to these advisories and plan well ahead and respond and give us feedback on the performance of this forecast. So when we plan using the forecast, definitely the impact of this extreme event will be reduced.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Matazu. That has been Dr. Matazu, the Director of Research. So we're back to you now, Dr. Oguyemi. Are there questions you would like us to look at from the NAV Center?
Well, I would like you to also look at how do people begin to prepare to reduce the impact of this prediction that NIMET has given. I mean, what should they begin to now consider?
Well, the idea of this prediction is to put the whole of Nigerians on their toes. For those in the aviation sector, for instance, if you get to know that there's going to be a bad weather at a particular period of the year, you're able to plan your movement. Even as a traveler, you know that you might meet some kind of turbulence, so you can plan your movement, while those managing the sector makes adequate arrangements to mitigate whatever consequence may arise from there. This affects even health practitioners. The Ministry of Health can make preparations for weather-related ailments. Say in rainy season, there are going to be presentations of cases affecting respiratory tract infection, pulmonary diseases, and so on and so forth. So literally every sector, and especially farmers now, they depend a lot on rainfall. So knowledge about rainfall will help farmers to also make preparations. Don't forget, Nigerians are always crying whenever there are cases of flooding. If you know that your state is flood prone or you are likely to meet flooding, you can make preparation, desuit your drains, and make other arrangements so that you are not hit. So it's going to impact every sector of the nation's economy.
So much, Nogie, for that update. Thank you. And now we take